Which person do you identify with? Are you the rich man or are you the poor man, Lazarus? Well, the fact is that we have been both the rich man and the poor man, Lazarus, at some point in our life. We don't live in a world where we are only one or the other. I can remember moments in my life when things were falling nicely into place, things were good, and I was full of life. Likewise, I can also name times when I was sad, broken, and suffering. This gospel is not a judgment about the rich man versus the poor man, nor is it about a judgment of good versus bad. The gospel asks us to consider the space that separates the rich man from the poor man, Lazarus. As the rich man was enjoying his extravagant life day after day, just on the other side of his door was the poor man, Lazarus, who was covered with sores and would have eaten of any of the scraps that fell on the floor. When they died, the gospel tells us that Lazarus was carried to the bosom of Abraham. In other words, to a place of honor, and the rich man was sent to suffer the torment of flames. The door that existed between the two of them in life carried over to the afterlife. The door is important because it is what separated them, and it is what separates us today. No, I'm not talking about social separation or social distancing as we call it. This door that separates and divides us in this world is not a condition of circumstances or categories like rich or poor, black or white, gay or straight, Christian, non-Christian, or healthy or sick. The door that separates us is a condition of the heart. So we are invited to examine our hearts, to find the doors that exists in our lives that separate us from ourselves, our loved ones, our neighbors, our enemies, and ultimately God. What are some of the doors that we live with? Pride, busyness, loneliness, hurt, envy, fear? That's just me. We all have them. But every time we take a step forward to healing a wound, making an attempt to love our neighbors as ourselves, to treat a rival or enemy with compassion, how about sharing the tasks or chores with family members, bringing comfort to those friends who are lonely, especially in this time of social distancing. We also open that door to bridge the gap among us. There's no right way to do this. There's no manual on how these things work, these difficult things. But opening that door to bridge the separation is something we must experience in our own way. It's not easy work, but it is possible. Jesus modeled for us in his life, ministry, death, and resurrection. Jesus opened doors and bridged many gaps. So, what doors are you going to open today? Well, thanks for tuning in. I know everything's been crazy in this past week, and life has just turned upside down, frankly. So I appreciate that you still take the time to listen and that you help me in being a better reflector of the word. This was something I had done before all of the changes happened. So I really appreciate you being able to listen, and in the coming weeks it'll be a slightly different tone, I think. But we'll see. Even though we don't have any more masses going on here at the Paulist Center in Boston, I'm going to still see if I can continue doing these kind of reflections. It's good work for me. It's part of my spirituality, how I exercise my spirituality in these moments, and hopefully that it'll touch you in some way. Thanks for listening.